it. He's gonna have a hard time explaining to Haley and Laney these food stamps and this wick shit, cause he never wished shit. He hoped and he wished it, but it didn't fall in his lap, so he ain't even here. He pretends that.
Welcome back to another episode of Goat-Worthy Reactions, where we mainly like to focus on the goats on this channel, but you already know that. So today we got a special one, man. I'm just throwing this one out there. Hey, somebody sent a nice little donation to the Cash App, which is at Goat-Worthy 3. Goat-Worthy 3. So if you want to send, if you want to send like a recommendation or a suggestion through the Cash App, you could do so. You don't have to, but if you want to, you could do so, and I'll for sure will do that reaction. But yeah, so somebody said B.o.B, Eminem, and Haley Williams. Airplanes part 2 though. So this is a remix, is a part 1. Like I'm saying, it was a part 1 was just B.o.B. Let's get into it though, man. We're gonna do this. We're gonna bang this one out for my boy Joey Jihad. Joey Jihad. I won't butcher your name. Yeah, Joey Jihad from Memphis. So let's get it. B.o.B, Airplanes Part 2 featuring Eminem.
Can we pretend that airplanes in the night sky like shooting stars? I could really use a wish right now, wish right now, wish right now. Can we pretend that airplanes in the night sky like shooting stars? I could really use a wish right now, wish right now, wish right now. Dreaming.
Real poppy record.
Let's pretend like it's 98, like I'm eating lunch off a styrofoam tray. Trying to be the next rapper coming out the A. Hoping for a record deal to ignore my pain. Now let's pretend like I'm on the stage, and when my beat drops, everybody goes insane. Okay, and everybody know my name, and everywhere I go, people wanna hear me sing. Oh yeah, and I just dropped my new album. On the first week I did 500,000. Gold in the spring and diamond in the fall. And then a world tour just to top it all off. And let's pretend like they call me the greatest. Selling out arenas with big ass stages. And everybody love me and no one ever hated. Just try to use imagination.
Can we pretend that airplanes in the night?
I mean, it was a solid verse. I don't even want to call it solid. It was alright. So I guess it's being recommended. Like I like B.o.B, but that was like, I don't know. You on a song with Eminem. I mean, you had good content. You had good subject matter. I think he could have just went harder, or maybe he just, I don't know how equipped of a rapper he is, but he's got another verse though apparently. So let it rock.
Sky like shooting stars. I could really use a wish right now, wish right now, wish right now. Can we pretend that airplanes in the night sky like shooting stars? I could really use a wish right now, wish right now, wish right now.
Okay, let's pretend like this never happened. Like I never had dreams of being a rapper. Like I didn't write raps up in all of my classes. Like I never used to run away into the blackness now. Let's pretend like it was all good. Like I didn't live staring in the notebook. Like I did the things that I probably knew I should. But I ain't have neighbors, that's why they call it hood. Yeah, now let's pretend like I ain't got a name. Before they ever call me B.o.B or AKA Bobby Ray. I'm talking back before the mixtapes, before the videos and the deals and the fame. Before they ever once compared me to Andre. Before I ever got on my space. Before they ever noticed my face. So let's just pretend and make wishes out of airplanes.
Whoa, what you mean compare you to? What you mean by that, dog? I mean, maybe I'm not aware, but yeah, definitely not on no Andre 3K level. I felt the same way about that verse. Actually, I felt worse about that one than I did about the first verse. I wasn't really feeling it. Like, he was trying to evoke emotion out of me. He was trying to, trigger something, and he wanted you to feel his path. You know what I'm saying? Feel his come up. But I wasn't really feeling it. Like, you know what I'm saying? I heard what he said, but I just wasn't into it. Like, I wasn't that invested into it. But it was all right. basic rhymes. It got a little repetitive with the, you know, before this, before that, before this, before that. It was just like, it was a little too much for me. But let's keep it going. I guess the climax is coming.
We pretend that airplanes in the night sky like shooting stars. I can really use a wish right now.
I don't hate the hook either. The hook is alright. I like the concept of the hook for Eminem.
I can really use a wish right now. Wish right now. Wish right now.
And it seems like yesterday, it was just a dream. But those days are gone, they're just memories. And it seems like yesterday, it was just a dream. But those days are gone.
Oh, you can hear M. You can hear M.
Alright, let's pretend Marshall Mathers never picked up a pen. Let's pretend things would have been no different. Pretend he procrastinated, had no motivation. Pretend he just made excuses that were so paper thin they could blow away with the wind.
Yeah.
Marshall, you're never gonna make it. Makes no sense to play the game, there ain't no way that you'll win. Pretend he just stayed outside all day and played with his friends. Pretend he even had a friend to say was his friend.
Yeah.
And it wasn't time to move and schools weren't changing again. He wasn't socially awkward and just strange as a kid. He had a father and his mother wasn't crazy as shit. And he never dreamed he could rip stadiums and just lazy as shit. Fuck a talent show in the gymnasium, bitch. You won't amount to shit. Quit daydreaming, kid. You need to get your cranium checked. You're thinking like an alien, it just ain't realistic. Now pretend they ain't just make him angry with this shit.
Yeah.
And there was no one he could even aim when he's pissed it.
Yeah.
And his alarm went off to wake him, but he didn't make it to the rap Olympics. Slept through his plane and he missed it. He's gonna have a hard time explaining to Haley and Laney these food stamps and this weak shit. Cause he never risked shit. He hoped and he wished it, but it didn't fall in his lap. So he ain't even here. He pretends that
Airplanes in the night sky.
Dog, I just got goosebumps all over my body just now. Let's pretend Marshall Mathers never picked up a pen. Let's pretend things would have been no different. Now, we're running that whole verse back, dog. We're running that whole verse back because this song didn't do us justice, and B.o.B let me down.
to say was his friend. And they could blow away with the wind.
Yeah.
It was just a dream.
You can hear him. You can hear M coming in. He said,
Alright, let's pretend Marshall Mathers never picked up a pen. Let's pretend things would have been no different. Pretend he procrastinated, had no motivation. Pretend he just made excuses that were so paper thin they could blow away with the wind. Marshall, you're never gonna make it. Makes no sense to play the game, there ain't no way that you'll win. Pretend he just stayed outside all day and played with his friends. Pretend he even had a friend to say was his friend. And it wasn't time to move and schools weren't changing again. He wasn't socially awkward and just strange as a kid. He had a father and his mother wasn't crazy as shit. And he never dreamed he could rip stadiums and just lazy as shit. Fuck a talent show in the gymnasium, bitch. You won't amount to shit. Quit daydreaming, kid. You need to get your cranium checked. You're thinking like an alien, it just ain't realistic. Now pretend they ain't just make him angry with this shit. And there was no one he could even aim when he's pissed it. And his alarm went off to wake him, but he didn't make it to the rap Olympics. Slept through his plane and he missed it. He's gonna have a hard time explaining to Haley and Laney these food stamps and this weak shit. Cause he never risked shit. He hoped and he wished it, but it didn't fall in his lap. So he ain't even here. He pretends that
Airplanes in the night sky like shooting stars. I can really use a wish right now. Wish right now. Wish right now. Can we pretend that airplanes in the night sky like
telling
shooting
y'all,
stars?
it's in the book.
I can really use a wish right now. Wish right now. Wish right now.
oh, man. Hey, yo, that verse just took me down memory lane. Like, that verse did something to me, man. That verse did something to me. We got to run that back, dog. Let's pretend Marshall Mathers never picked up a pen. Let's pretend things would have been no different. Pretend he procrastinated, had no motivation. Pretend he just made excuses that were so paper thin they could blow away with the wind. Marshall, you're never gonna make it. Makes no sense to play the game. There ain't no way that you win. Huh? Let's pretend. Right? Let's pretend. So let's pretend Marshall Mathers never picked up a pen. Right? Let's pretend things would have been no different. Pretend he procrastinated, had no motivation. Pretend he just made excuses that were so paper thin. Where would he be right now if he made those excuses? Where would he be right now? Stop making excuses, yo. Stop making this. This dude is motivational when just talking about his own story, when he's not even trying to be motivational. He's just telling you the reality of what he went through, right? He said, pretend he just stayed outside all day and played with his friends. His friend, pretend he even had a friend to say was his friend. Man, that joint, that line right there. I knew the verse took a turn right after that. The verse took a turn. He said, pretend he just stayed outside a day and played with his friends. Pretend he even had a friend to say was his friend. And it wasn't time to move in schools that weren't changing again. He wasn't socially awkward and just strange as a kid. He had a father and his mother wasn't crazy as itch. And he never dreamed that he could rip stadiums and just lazy as itch. Effortalum show in the gymnasium trick. You want to mount the itch. Quit daydreaming, kid. You need to get your cranium checked. You're thinking like you're thinking like an alien and it just ain't realistic. Oh my God. You're thinking like an alien and it just ain't realistic. Not pretend they ain't just make him angry with this shit. And there was no one he could even aim when he's pissed at. And his alarm went off to wake him, but he didn't make it to the Rap Olympics, slept through his plane and he missed it. He talked about that in the book. The Rap Olympics in 1997, dog. I'm telling y'all, listen, they not telling me that I'm a small channel. They not telling me to advertise for him. I'm telling y'all, before this album drop, if you think you know Marshall and you want to get acquainted with him, buy this book. This book cost me like $14, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. It cost me like $14. This for the soft cover. You know what I'm saying? The hardcover costs like $80 or something like that, but they both got the same stuff in it. Pictures, dope pictures that you don't see online. You don't see these pictures online, dog. These are his pictures that he put in his book and publicized. Just him talking about his come up, like the things he had to go through as a child, socially awkward, right? Don't forget what his mother did to him. You know what I'm saying? He's forgiven her, so everybody else should do the same. And she's actually sick. She had a disease, so let's not talk about that right now. Let's just talk about the struggle he had to go through, right? He was told he was sick for most of his life, and he wasn't. So, you know what I'm saying? He went to school, he was getting bullied. You know what I'm saying? Since a youngin', he was getting bullied. Got knocked into a coma. Like, he was in a coma for months, y'all. I'm not making this up. This is crazy, dog. This is crazy. So he's painting a picture of that kid. He's telling you what would happen if that kid just never locked in. You feel me? What if he just stayed that kid? Because the kid he's talking about in the beginning, that kid did exist. He did that kid very much existed. That was him at one point, right? And it wasn't time to move, and schools weren't changing again. He wasn't socially awkward and just strange as a kid. He had a father and his mother wasn't crazy as ish. Imagine if he had a father, his mother wasn't crazy as ish, right? But all of that was just fuel. All of that was what made you, dog. Like, I grew up the same way. I grew up without a father, and it made me, man. I learned things the hard way, obviously. I had to learn in the streets. I had to learn from other people's fathers. I had to learn from, other older people just from the streets, right? And I took the good and bad from everybody, and I weighed out my options, and I turned out okay, y'all. I ain't gonna lie to you. I turned out okay. I reunited with my father. Me and my father have a beautiful relationship now. You know what I'm saying? He's like one of my best friends. I talk to him weekly. You know what I'm saying? There was a point where I was talking to him every day. Now I talk to him weekly, but that's just because my life is crazy and busy. I'm a father now, so it's life is different now. But I wouldn't change it for the world. You know what I'm saying? I seen how my father raised his sons, because he had some sons. I was his first son, and then when him and my mom were split up, he had kids with, he started another family, and his kids are beautiful. His kids are smart. I got 2 little brothers and a little sister, and they're very intelligent, very smart, raised very well, well-mannered, proper etiquette, everything, speak, and they're brilliant. They got university scholarships. Like, these kids they're perfect, right? And I just think to myself, like, man, I had a hard life growing up. It could have been a lot easier if I had a man around to show me how to be a man. when I was going through my stages. I just had my mother and whatever boyfriend she might have had at the time. You know what I mean? And that's where this verse takes me. It takes me there. Like, man, what about me? What if I had, I start thinking like, let's pretend I never picked up the pen, right? Because I still write now, you know what I'm saying? I still write, but I used to take rap a lot more serious, you know what I mean? I was doing some things, man. I did my little numbers, I did my shows. I had my little fan base in my city, but it was a big part of my life, no matter what. Music was a big part of my life. So I'm just thinking like, I'm putting myself in all these situations that he's saying, and it hits home, you know what I'm saying? He said, F a talent show in a gymnasium. Yeah, I did talent shows in my gymnasium, for real, me and my homeboys. So you won't amount, this is what they're telling him, you won't amount to quit daydreaming, kid. You need to get your cranium checked. You're thinking like an alien and it just ain't realistic. So just trying to shatter his dreams. Now pretend they ain't just make him angry with this shit. And there was no one he could even aim when he's pissed at. And his alarm went to wake him, but he didn't make it to the Rap Olympics. Slept through his plane and he missed it. Yes, he went to the Rap Olympics in 97 in LA. That's how he got discovered. It's technically how he got discovered, because his CD ended up in somebody's hands at the Rap Olympics. That person handed it to Jimmy Iovine. Jimmy Iovine left it in his garage and forgot about it. Dr. Dre found it in his garage, and poof, we're all here now. We're all united here in this video. We're all united here because of what took place, because he woke up and made it to the Rap Olympics. Slept through his plane and he missed it. He's going to have a hard time explaining to Haley and Lane and these food stamps and this WIC shit, because he never risked it. He hoped and he wished it, but it didn't fall in his lap, so he ain't even here. He pretends that airplanes in the nighttime are like shooting stars. He saved this song, boy. Oh, man, part 1 was trash. I already know it was. I'm sorry. Part 2 was almost trash. The hook and M, fire. B.o.B, I mean, it was a wash. It was a thorough bodying. He said, somebody's playing his mistake. So I don't know if y'all know, I grew up on food stamps. Me and my brother, we grew up on the WIC program. That's like single mother household situations. We grew up on all of that. Section 8. We grew up on all of that. When we lost all of that, we ain't had no more house, and they took all those benefits away from us. We lived in basements. We was getting evicted. I lived in so many homes. Growing up. And I don't say that to talk about my struggle, to be like, I had it so hard. Nah, man, I could just relate to what he's saying. So relatable. So it really, really grinds my gears when people say they can't relate to him. It's like, nah, you never, like my mother was never on drugs, but in the black community, like, that's a popular thing. Like in my community where I grew up, a lot of people's parents were on drugs. A lot of us were on WIC program. A lot of us were on Section 8. A lot of us was on food stamps. A lot of us had the free, the green ticket to go to school because you had free lunch. Yeah, come on, don't act like that. A lot of us was moving around a lot. A lot of us was getting evicted, living in basements. You know what I'm saying? Whole family living in basements. Like, yeah, we lived in so many basements. We got flooded. Our house almost burned down. Like, we went through so much stuff growing up that when he talks about this, I just think to myself, where I made it now and my success now is just like, man, what if I just pretend that this was my life? Where would I be right now? I don't know. It just hits home for me, man. It strikes a nerve. But then at the same time, I think about him. I think about his struggle, and he's had it worse than anybody I know. You know what I'm saying? For real. But yeah, man, that wraps up today, man. That was Airplanes Part 2 featuring Eminem and Haley Williams. Yeah, I gotta give this M verse. This is one of my favorite M verse. At this point, every time I say that, I feel like I'm just full of it. But I really like this is not that it's my favorite rapping verse, but it's my favorite. It's one of my this is actually my favorite. This is Marshall right here, and this is actually my favorite persona of Eminem. Marshall Mathers. That's my favorite. When he, When I'm Gone, right? When I'm Gone or Mockingbird. Mockingbird. Yeah, Mockingbird. When I'm Gone, I mean I've heard When I'm Gone, but it's been years. But When I'm Gone, Mockingbird, I'm Sorry Mama. Stuff like this. A lot of his earlier work, 97 Bonnie and Clyde, like that's my favorite M to listen to be honest with y'all. Yeah. And that's his most relatable. Like I relate mostly to that side of M, which is the person, which is dope. So anyway, that wraps up today's reaction. B.o.B. disappointing, not gonna lie. Very basic bars. M killed it. I like the hook. M made me like the hook. I wanted to sing along with the hook now after that. So fire, man. I gotta give it up to M. That was a fire verse. We out.